Hello guys, this is your friend Dark Fox 3.0. We are back with a new fanfic. Which is, what if Naruto married Mei for politics, but their forbidden love created a god? Part 1. And if you enjoy this fanfic, then please press the like button and subscribe to my channel for more fanfic like this. And no, start a new fanfic. The council was shifting in their chairs nervously. This was bad, really bad. They had made this arrangement before the Chunin exams, before Jiraiya had taken the boy as an apprentice, before he had convinced Tsunade to come back. Mei Terumi had taken over as Mizukage, the bloodline purge had been stopped, and the Mist wanted to form an alliance with the Leaf. They wanted a political marriage, and the council was happy to let young Naruto Uzumaki go to the Mist, at least they were before. Now they could see they had given up a very powerful shinobi, one who was completely loyal to them, and they couldn't get him back without destroying the alliance with the Mist. Tsunade was furious. I come back to the Leaf, and the first thing I find out is you're sending the kid away who convinced me to come here. A pink-hair woman started to speak. We're incredibly sorry. We had no idea what we were doing at the time. If we had known what the boy could do, we never would have sent them away. Tsunade released killer intent at the council that made even the experienced ninja flinch, so you only regret now that you find out he's useful to you. You're marrying a 14-year-old to a 17-year-old, I changed the ages a bit to make it more believable, for crying out loud. There's nothing we can do about it now. He's going to marry the woman whether we like it or not. What's done is done. I say we take comfort in the fact that they will be pleased with who we chose, and make sure the beau at least enjoys being married. Said the war hawk Noah's Danzo. Tsunade softened slightly at that. On that much you're right. We need to make sure Naruto's happy in the Mist, both for the political and personal reasons. I trust we're going to make him a Chunin. It would be kind of insult if we sent the Mizukage a Genin. A council member stepped up. Of course, he will be given the rank of Chunin. He performed fantastically in the exams, and even managed to stop the Kage's son for destroying the village. Tsunade nodded. I've met Mei Terumi before. Naruto will definitely be happy with her looks, not that he's that shallow. She's a very nice person from what I've seen of her. And she's also a very powerful shinobi. I guess if he was gonna marry someone, I'm glad it was her. The council nodded, taking a small amount of comfort in the fact that Naruto would be marrying someone that would make him the envy of any man. Beautiful, kind, and powerful to boot, the complete package. Mei Terumi was on her way to the Hidden Leaf, her advisor Ao by her side. Mizukage-sama, I do hope you're not too angry with us for forcing this marriage on you. From what I've heard, you're marrying a fine young man, Ao told her. The Mizukage smiled. No, I realize it was a necessary sacrifice, and if he really did pass the Chunin exams as a rookie, then he must be a good shinobi. Hopefully he's cute too. Mei knew she herself was a beautiful woman, with long auburn hair, perfect curves, and full lips. She had most the men in the Mist drooling over her. You're nervous that he's a Jinchuriku, are you? We've had a bad past with them after all. Ao asked. Mei laughed. One bad Jinchuriku doesn't mean they all are. Besides, it looks like Yagru may have been under someone else's influence. The message said he had had a bit of a rough childhood. Maybe we can relate to one another. Ao nodded. He hoped this would go well. Mei was almost like a daughter to him. He prayed she ended up happy. Married? Naruto asked, dumbfounded. Tsunade had just explained the whole situation to him. The marriage, him being transferred to the Mist, his everything. Tsunade gave him a soft smile. Naruto, I know you weren't expecting this, but we've done our best to make sure this is a good thing for you. I can personally tell you Mei is beautiful, kind, and a damn good shinobi. Naruto frowned. But I have to leave the village. I'll never be Hokage. I'll barely ever see my friends. Tsunade stopped him. You'll be the ambassador to the leaf, so you'll be in the village and see your friends plenty. As for being Hokage, I've got something that may be a small consolation for that. Naruto was curious, what could make up for losing his dream? Tsunade pulled out a small scroll and gave it to him. Your father want us to give this to you when you made Chunin. Naruto's eyes went wide. His father, they knew who his father was, this was awesome. He opened the scroll and started to read. Naruto, if you're reading this then I'm dead and so is your mother. I've instructed Jiraiya and the old man not to tell you until you make Chunin, and even then you can't tell anyone. Son, I'm Minato Namikaze, the fourth Hokage of the Hidden Leaf, and I have a lot of enemies, particularly in Iowa, who would stop at nothing to kill you if they found out. I would have liked to have had Jiraiya adopt you, but with his spy network I doubt that could happen. If your mother was Kushina Uzumaki, holder of the Kyuubi, and if she's dead also, odds are the fox was sealed inside of you. I'm sorry to have put that burden on you, but I have faith you can protect the village even better than your mother did. Before I died, Jiraiya told me that he believed I would be the one who would bring peace to the world, but if I'm dead then I can't do that, so I'm counting on you too. As Hokage my duty was to protect this village, and if peace was brought to the world then village would truly be safe. I want you to bring peace to the world, Naruto, something even I as Hokage couldn't do. I love you and have complete faith in you. Your father, Minato Namikaze. Naruto couldn't believe what he had just read. He really thought I would be the one to bring peace to the shinobi world. Screw Hokage, this is way better. Tsunade laughed. Naruto still had a chance to be happy, to achieve something great. Don't tell anyone about this, alright? Iowa would send their whole army after you. Also you'll be getting complete access to the Namikaze fortune, which is quite large, and to all of his and your mother's scrolls on jutsu. Last but not least, I've got a picture of the two of them on the day they found out about you. As you can see they were quite happy to be having you. Naruto smiled and took the picture. She was right, they were both very happy, and he had feeling he would be now too. He had new dream, and family, things were really starting to look up for him. Naruto was walking towards the hospital nervously to see his teammates. He was wearing his new Chunin vest with pride, when he stopped at the door trying to think of a way to tell his teammates all of this. He was the one getting married and he could barely process it. Naruto chose winging it as his best option, seeing as how it had always worked before. He took a deep breath and opened the door. Hey guys, how's it going? Sakura went to yell at the young Jinchuriku. Naruto Yubaka, you, almost woke up. Sasuke. She stopped when she noticed the Chunin vest he was wearing. You made Chunin. Yeah, but that's kinda just the tip of the iceberg. Naruto was cut off by the now awake Sasuke before he could finish. The Dobi made Chunin, how? The bedridden boy screamed. Kakashi decided to speak up. Sasuke, we should be happy for him, no need to yell. Obviously the council felt he did well enough to be promoted. Well done Naruto, I also heard Jiraiya-san is training you, very impressive. He finished with one of his classic eye smiles. Congratulations. I'm going for walk, need to clear my head, Sasuke said getting out of his hospital bed. He walked out giving Naruto and Sakura a slight shove as he left, much to the pink-hair girl's dismay. Naruto, why did you have to come in here flaunting your vest like that? You upset Sasuke. Well, I guess it's not really your fault. Congratulations. Sakura finished half-heartedly. Guys, sit down, we have a lot to talk about. Naruto spent about 10 minutes telling them everything, other than his heritage, and waited nervously for a response. Kakashi was the first to speak. Well, that's great, Naruto, although I don't know what the leaf will do without its favorite knucklehead ninja. He told his student, trying to hide the fact that he would really miss the boy. Naruto had brought some light back into his life, and he was sad he was going to lose that. Naruto, I'm so sorry. You come in here with great news and all I do is yell at you. I'm gonna miss you a lot and I'm sure Sasuke will too. We were finally starting to become a real team. Salute told him with a sad smile. She walked up and gave the boy a small hug, which the boy returned, very surprised. Thanks, Sakura-chan, that means a lot to me. We're gonna go down and meet my future wife in about an hour. Can round up everybody else so I see them? Naruto asked. Of course, I'll make sure Sasuke is there too. How long to have before you to the mist? Sakura asked with a smile. About a month, Naruto responded. Great. We'll make sure it's the best month you've ever had. She said, running out of the room happily. Naruto stood in the doorway confused. I don't get it. Usually she's all mad and tries to hit me, but she got all nice and even gave me hug. What's up with that? Kakashi laughed. Women are confusing creatures, Naruto. Very confusing creatures. Kinda funny that the most wonderful thing in the world belongs to the most confusing things in the world. What's the most wonderful thing in the world? Naruto asked. Kakashi smiled. You'll find out on your wedding night. The duo from the mist, Ao and Mei, stopped at the clearing in the forest. They had been told to wait for someone to come and escort them the rest of the way. Not that they really needed it, it was more of a political gesture than anything. Jiraiya of the Sannin is supposed to be the one meeting us here. I think you two have met before, Ao told her. Mei scowled at the memory of the old pervert. Oh yeah, we met all right, and when see him, I'm gonna show him just what happens to people who peep on Mei Terumi. Ao cringed. Only a few men had been stupid enough to peep on Mei, and they ended up burns in the worst possible locations. Needless to say, it wasn't pretty. Can at least hold off till we get to the village. Mei frowned. We'll see. Just as she spoke, the white-hair pervert appeared. Mei immediately got into position to burn the Sannin to Kingdom Come, but he cut her off. Look, I know you probably dislike me, but you can beat the crap out of me after I've told everything you need to know about your future husband. Mei hesitated but nodded, a little surprised by his seriousness. Jiraiya handed her a large bag and began to speak. In that bag is all of his father's scrolls and the Uzumaki scrolls on sealing and jutsu, mainly on wind since that's his element. Also there's some water and fire scrolls in there. He has a slight affinity in each. Also I've put all of the things he should be training on with the toads while I'm away. Finally, I've placed a booklet in there with all of my current knowledge on the Akatsuki in it. Mei was trying to take in everything she was being told. Wait, father, I thought he was an orphan, and what's the Akatsuki? Jiraiya sighed. The Akatsuki are an organization trying to obtain the tailed beasts. For some unknown reason, we believe they may have had something to do with the situation with the last Mizukage, and as for his parents, that should be explained to you by Naruto, not me. Mei nodded, processing everything he had just told her. So what's he like? Jiraiya smiled as he thought of his latest student. He can come of a little brash and loud, but once you get to know him you can't help but love the kid. He'd do anything for his friends, and I've never seen the kid give up on anything the whole time I've known him. If he can't do something small he just moves on to something bigger. He's the most amazing kid I've ever seen, and you're lucky to be marrying him. Mei smiled and rose her eyebrow slightly. You really care about him, don't you? Jiraiya laughed. I may be a super pervert, but when it comes to those I care about, I'd go to the ends of the earth for them, just like Naruto would. Jiraiya got a slight frown on his face. If anyone asks, we never had this conversation, I've got an image to uphold. Tell them I asked you to tell me how your first time with Naruto goes. Actually, that might be good for. He was cut off immediately by May. I've only just decided not to melt your little friend. Don't make me change my mind. Forehead girl, what's all this about? What did you have to get all of us together for? Ino asked. I too would like an explanation of your urgency, Shino said, emotionless as ever. Troublesome, I was really enjoying watching the clouds. I'm not going to be able to do that as much now that I'm a chunin, you know. Shikamaru complained. Actually, Shikamaru, that's part of the reason I called you guys here. Naruto made chunin too, but that's not even the half of it. You guys might wanna sit down for this. Sakura told them. She had gathered all of the rookie 9 and their senseis, other than Naruto and Kakashi, also Team Guy and Iruka were there. All of them raised an eyebrow at what the girl was saying. A few of them smiled when they heard about Naruto making chunin. Lee of course praised Naruto's power of youth. Once she finished telling them about the marriage and the transfer, the smiles faded. None of them really wanted to see Naruto go. Hinata was on the verge of tears. Sakura decided to end the silence. Guys, I need your help. I want to make Naruto's last month here as good as it can be. Ino raised an eyebrow and looked at Sakura. No offense, forehead girl, but since when did you care about Naruto? I always thought you hated him. Sakura frowned and looked at the ground. I never hated Naruto. To be honest, his constant asking me out made me feel pretty, and all his encouragement actually made me believe I could become a real ninja. This might sound kinda selfish, but I want Naruto to remember me doing something other than hitting him. Ino looked at her old friend and rival and smiled. Alright, if it's that important to you, we'll help you. First off, who do we have bringing this May girl over here? When I asked Lady Tsunade, she said Jiraiya was going to get her. Sakura didn't get a chance to finish as Kurenai cut her off. What? Lady Tsunade sent that pervert to go get her? No way. Me and one of the girls will go see her and make sure Jiraiya didn't try anything on her. Kurenai yelled. She hated perverts, and while she respected Jiraiya, he was definitely a pervert, and was not to be trusted around a woman as far as she was concerned. Hinata, would you like to come along? Hinata quickly nodded. She wanted to meet the person who was stealing her Naruto. If she couldn't be the one to make him happy, she sure as hell would see to it May did, Mizukage or not. The others went to get everything else ready. May would be there in about 20 to 30 minutes, which wasn't much time, and they all had a few things they wanted to get ready for Naruto and his soon-to-be bride. What the? That little shit is marrying that hot piece of, damn, some people get all the luck, Hidan, the immortal of the Akatsuki, whined. The 10 members of the Akatsuki were gathered to discuss the status of the incaptured tailed beasts. Wow, 5 curse words in one sentence, might be a new record for you, Deidara the art-crazed explosives expert laughed. Actually, Hidan's record is 8 swear words in one sentence, said a man who was wearing an orange mask. Deidara scowled. Toby, get out of here, you're not even an official member. But Toby hasn't gotten a cookie, Toby whined. Konan, the blue-haired second in command of the Akatsuki, reached in her cloak and handed him a cookie. Here you go, Toby, now buy a good boy and run off. Awesome, thanks Konan-chan, Toby replied, running out of the room. Man, I felt bad for whoever gets him as a partner, Deidara muttered. With his new relationship to the Mizukage, it would be best to wait to go after him. I trust you all know your new assignments. The leader of the Akatsuki, Noah's Pain, told them. They all nodded. All right, head out, you know what to do. Sorry about them sticking you with the pervert, Kurunai told the Mizukage. They had gotten to her about 5 minutes ago, they were set to reach the leaf in about 10 minutes. It's okay, he actually wasn't too bad, for the most part anyway, Mei responded with a smile. She had ended up slapping Jiraiya once, but that was the worst of it. Hinata, who had been silent up to this point, finally got the courage to speak. You're going to make Naruto happy, aren't you? She asked quickly. Mei was surprised at the question. Of course, why do you ask? Hinata looked down. He's very important to me. She told her. She was starting to lose control of her stutter. Mei smiled, starting to understand how she felt about the boy. That's good, how about you tell me all about him on the rest of the way there? Hinata gave a small smile. She was more than happy to talk about Naruto. Mei listened happily, learning more about her soon-to-be husband. Naruto stood nervously at the gate. Mei was due to arrive at any moment, and several of his friends went out to grab him something. Ino had gotten him different clothes, as she refused for Naruto to meet Mei wearing so much orange. It was a simple long-sleeve black shirt, his chunin vest, and black pants. Ino also sent Choji and Shikamaru to get flowers from her parents' shop. Anko had came over when she heard about Naruto's marriage. She had come to like boy after the Chunin exams, and gave him a black trench coat with the Uzumaki swirl on the back. Finally, Kiba gave him the fang of a past Inuzuka dog, a sign of major respect and a way to show everyone in the mist he was backed by the Inuzuka clan. It was connected to a small chain around his neck. He was visibly sweating. Iruka put a hand on his shoulder and whispered to him, Naruto, relax, we're all right behind you. She's gonna love you just like we do, it'll go great. Naruto took a deep breath and looked out to see Mei walking up towards the gate. Sorry, but he won't meet Mei till next time. I promise to update soon. Please leave any comments in the reviews, and thank you for reading. Naruto was speechless as he looked at his soon-to-be wife. She was incredibly beautiful, truly breathtaking, perfect curves, auburn hair, amazing green eyes, and a walk that just screamed. Wow. Just, wow, he stuttered. Mei smiled, happy to see him completely under her spell already. Thanks, you're pretty cute yourself. She wasn't kidding, the whisker marks were very exotic, and he had a very muscular frame for someone his age. Naruto shook his head and brought himself out of his stupor and brought up the flowers. Sorry, these are for you. It's very nice to meet you. This is gonna sound kinda stupid, but how do I greet you? Do we shake hands, hug, what? I'm not really used to this kinda thing. Mei brought the flowers to her face and smelled them. They had a fantastic aroma. She gave a small laugh at Naruto's question. I think a hug would be the best choice, a handshake is far too formal. Naruto smiled and walked up to the woman, who quickly enveloped him in a hug, pressing his face in her cleavage for added effect. The blonde blushed heavily and his friends laughed behind him. Anko was the first to speak. Wow, Gaki, if your face got any redder you'd match the Mizukage's hair. By the way, is that colored, or do the curtains match the drapes? Everyone's jaw hit the floor. Only Anko would ask the Mizukage a question like that. Mei just smirked. Sorry, that's for me to know, and Naruto to find out. Naruto nearly passed out after hearing that. Anko just laughed. I think you and I will get along just fine. All of Naruto's friends began to ask questions of their own, but only Sasuke's managed to get through. You know you're marrying the dead last of the academy, don't you? Sasuke. Kakashi snapped. Mei just smirked. Funny, it seems he's wearing a Chunin vest and you're not. Seems like you've been surpassed by my soon-to-be husband if you ask me. Kiba fell on the ground laughing. Dude, she so just told you. Hot and funny. Lucky you, huh, Naruto? They were all about to try and start asking questions again, but they were cut off by Naruto. Look, I know you guys want to get to know Mei, but I really need to take her to see the old lady, and I'd like to at least try to get to know her a bit on the way, so did you guys mind? They all got the idea and nodded. Naruto looked back at Mei and offered her his arm. Shall we head out? Naruto asked. Thank you, Iruka-sensei, for the teaching me how to be polite towards a woman, Naruto thought. Mei smiled and took his arm and they began to walk to the Hokage's office. Naruto decided to get the biggest question on his mind taken care of first. So you know about the fox already? Mei nodded. Do you, Yano, are you? Mei stopped him with her hand. Naruto, I don't hate you, heck I've just met you. If anything I already have a great impression of you, after all you had that many people cared enough to support you with all this. Naruto smiled. Talk about a feeling a weight lefties of your shoulder. Oh yeah, pervy sage didn't try anything on you did he? Mei shook her head. No, he was actually pretty nice, even gave me some scrolls for you. Naruto raised an eyebrow. Why'd he give them to you? Just because you have a scroll doesn't mean you can use it. We have to have someone who knows something about that element, sealing, or one of the toads for the toad scrolls, to teach how to understand what's inside. I'm the only one who can get those scrolls into the mist and find you teachers without them confiscating the scrolls. By the way, Jiraiya mentioned something about your father, but I had heard you were an orphan. Care to explain? Mei asked him. Naruto nodded. We're almost to the Homage's office, we should probably wait till we get there before I explain it. Reluctantly, Mei agreed. As much as her curiosity was piqued, she supposed she could wait a bit longer. Sasuke was busy at the training grounds, destroying trees with fireballs and grumbling to himself. He was beyond angry. How dare that damn woman imply he was weak? Did she know who he was? It was insulting being looked down on like that, let alone around the others. He continued to grumble when Kakashi walked up to him. Care to explain what that whole thing back there was all about? Kakashi asked in his usual nonchalant tone. Sasuke scoffed. Humph, I was just giving her the facts. She's marrying the dead last, isn't she? Kakashi didn't look up from his Ika. That's funny. Didn't he save your life twice during the Chunin exam? Sasuke scowled. So what if he did? Who cares? He just abandoned us the moment he got any good. All if the sudden he gets all these friends and now he's just leaving. You said it yourself, he's lower than trash now. Forget him. Who needs him? I don't need anyone. Sasuke screamed. Kakashi looked up from his book. He's not trash, Sasuke. He didn't choose to leave. He's doing it for the village. Wait a minute, this is about you, isn't it? You don't want to admit you're gonna miss him. No, I'm not. He's just gotten too big of a head, Sasuke snapped. Kakashi sighed. Sasuke, why do you think it's not okay to miss him? Naruto told me you were only he felt he could relate to growing up, and something tells me you feel the same. He's been your rival for years now. You saved his life in the wave, and he saved your from Gaara. What? Did seeing Itachi again just magically turn back to pain in the we met on the first day? Shut up. You want me to say it? Fine. I'm gonna miss Naruto. Are you happy now? Sasuke screamed. Yup. That all I needed. See ya later, Kakashi said, looking back down at his book. Sasuke just stood there dumbfounded. Bastard tricked me, he muttered. Tsunade had the Uchiha on her mind as well. She was in the middle reading all of the classified documents she needed to be filled in on now that she was Hokage, and she had just began to read up on some of the secrets of the Uchiha clan, and she was shocked as she began to read the file on the massacre. She was snapped out of her reading when someone knocked on her door. She put the scroll away and yelled, "Come in." Naruto walked in, his arm hooked with Mei's. "Hey Ba-chan, how's it going?" Mei looked shocked. "You call the legendary Sannin, pervy sage, and Ba-chan. You must have a death wish." Tsunade had a tick mark on her forehead. "I believe he does." Naruto gave his classic foxy grin and scratched the back of his head. "How else would you know it was me? Anyway, I brought Mei here to fill her in on everything she doesn't know yet. We should probably start with my dad, she's pretty curious about that." Mei nodded. "Yes, I really would like to know what's going on with the Naruto's father." Tsunade's face got serious. "You can't repeat what I'm about to tell you to anyone, it would put you, Naruto, and many others in danger." Mei couldn't possibly have been more curious. "Alright, will you please just tell me already?" Naruto looked at Mei. "My father was the Yellow Flash, Minato Namikaze." Mei was immediately silent, completely shocked. "Wow, well that would explain why you were chosen to contain the Kyuubi, and I'm guessing I was who you don't want to find out." Naruto spoke up once again. "What about the Akatsuki? How much do you know about them?" "Only what was in the scroll Jiraiya gave me," Mei told him. Tsunade frowned. "Almost forgot about them. That reminds me, Naruto, we need to get you training again. The old perv told he wanted you to start with wind scrolls that he gave Mei, so I'm going to have Asuma start training you with wind chakra." "Makes sense. When do we start?" he asked. "In about a week. We wanted to give you a little time to rest. Also Asuma want to track down a chakra blade strong enough to contain demon chakra. He was planning on teaching you some wind-style kinjutsu." Tsunade replied. Naruto raised an eyebrow. "Chakra blade, is that like the one that Kisame guy used?" Mei decided to ensure that one. "Yes, but they don't usually look like that. Samahata is unique, they usually just look like normal metal. You can only tell the difference when you channel chakra in it." "Is Kisame the only mist ninja you've ever met?" Naruto shook his head. "No, I meet the other swordsman, Zabuza, and his apprentice Haku. She had some kind of ice bloodline." "You met Zabuza, is he still alive?" Mei asked. "No, they're both dead. Too bad. Once they stopped trying to kill us they were kinda nice," Naruto told her. "We marked their graves with his sword." Mei smiled. "Problem solved, Tsunade-san. I can send someone to revive the blade and Naruto can use that. It's a chakra blade, and a blade that will made can definitely contain the Kyuubi's chakra." Naruto raised an eyebrow again. "You really think I'm worthy to wield one of the 7 great blades? I'm not even sure I could lift it." Mei laughed. "Trust me, Naruto-kun, I'm sure you'll be able to use it quite well." Naruto blushed at the new suffix. "Thanks, Mei-chan." Tsunade nodded. "Sounds good, well, get everything ready, you just keep yourself in shape. Also Naruto-kun, I've got something to teach you as well." Mei told him. "What's that?" he asked. "Well, Naruto-kun, I think I'm pretty safe in guessing you're a virgin, and I am too. I think we should get used to being intimate with one another before the honeymoon. We won't be going all the way until the wedding night, but I will be teaching you few fun things leading up to that," said Mei. Naruto had a small trickle of blood coming for his nose. He nodded with a very big blush on his face, causing Mei to laugh. She could tell this was gonna be fun. Mei and Naruto returned from the tower to find that everyone of Naruto's had waited so that they could properly meet her. They all questioned the young Mizukage. Ino asked how she kept herself looking so good, Kiba asked if she was a dog or cat person, Lee asked how bright her flames of youth were, and plenty of other questions. Asuma's question was the first one that was actually relevant. So, what is it that makes you cage level? Mei smirked. She was hoping someone would ask that. I've got two bloodlines, lava release and boil release, both of which I mastered. Everyone looked in awe. To have mastered two bloodlines was quite impressive. Sakura spoke up next. No offense, but doesn't that mean you've peaked? Mei smirked. You'd think, but no, I've mastered everything known about my bloodlines, but that doesn't mean I can't expand on them. Naruto looked at the clock and then back at his friends. This has been fun and all, but we need to go to the new apartment Bachan set up for us for the month. They all nodded and waved goodbye. I can't believe C looks that good without dieting, Ino whined. I'm just glad she's a dog person, said Kiba. The new apartment was nice, not extravagant but nice. Naruto changed into a orange pair of shorts and black shirt. He decided to ask Mei about the sleeping arrangements. She was changing in the bathroom. Mei, who's gonna sleep where tonight? Mei walked out and Naruto's jaw hit the floor. She was wearing a blue nightgown showing off plenty of her figure, mainly her long legs and ample chest. We're going to sleep in the same bed, silly, she said with a smile. Naruto blushed but nodded and went to lay down in the master bedroom. Mei laid down next to him and laughed. Don't you like sleeping next to me? Of course I do, it's just. Look, I've never even kissed a girl, so this is kinda new to me, Naruto told her. Mei gave a playful pout. Oh no, well don't you worry, I'll give you plenty of affection, you'll get used to it real fast, she said, planting a kiss on his cheek and lying down on her pillow. Naruto was shocked, but smiled soon. This marriage thing was starting to have its perks. The next week went by pretty fast for Naruto. He had been keeping in shape by training with Guy, which was ridiculously hard, but did give him a chance to have him help refine his taijutsu, so it all worked out. He continued to talk with Mei, getting closer with her every day. They discovered they had a very similar past, her with the bloodline purge, and him with the Kyuubi being sealed inside of him. Mei continued to embarrass Naruto when they slept in the same bed, cuddling with him and giving him kisses on the cheek, but Naruto didn't really mind all that much, actually he really enjoyed it. Sakura had done her best to be a better friend to Naruto, she even came to visit him and Mei in their apartment. Sasuke had admitted to himself that he was going to miss his rival, but he still refused to admit it to Naruto. Though he did make a better effort to be a little nicer to the blonde, he now asked for spares rather than order them, and he had actually congratulated Naruto and Mei on their so-to-be wedding. The week was one of the best Naruto could remember. The day came that Naruto was set to start learning with Asuma, and Mei was currently on her way to Team Guy's training ground to give him Kubikiribocho, his new swords once wielded by Zabuza. It was still early when the blade came, so Mei knew Naruto would be training with Guy. She decided to surprise him and bring him the sword herself. Naruto was panting heavily when she arrived. Oh, hey. Mei-chan. What are you doing here? He panted. Mei smiled. The Kubikiribocho came. I thought I would bring it to you. You start your elemental training today, so you'll probably need it. She unscathed the massive blade and handed it to Naruto. Be careful, you may be strong but you can't properly lift the blade until you channel chakra into it, and you shouldn't do that till Asuma shows you how. Naruto looked at it wide-eyed. It was just as amazing as he remembered it. He could barely lift it, but something felt right about having it in his hands. Amazing, he murmured. Tenten, who had also been training with Guy, looked at Blade like a child looks at a new toy. Oh my gosh, the Kubikiribocho, it's amazing, I can't believe I'm really seeing it in person. She continued to stare in the blade, then at the person holding it and blushed. She had a thing for weapons, which didn't go unnoticed by Mei. Naruto, we should head out, we have just enough time to get there, and Miss Tenten, if you would stop eyeing his sword, please, she muttered. Tenten blushed and nodded. Naruto looked a little confused, but followed. As they were walking, he asked, "What's up, Mei-chan? We had plenty of time." Naruto didn't get to finish as Mei slammed her lips into his. Naruto's eyes rolled into the back of his head at his first kiss. When she stopped, he slowing got his thoughts to come back to him. Not that I'm complaining, but what was that about? Mei blushed lightly. Naruto-kun, I'm a rather jealous person, and seeing that little weapon girl eyeing you up, I just felt the need to remind you who you're marrying. Naruto was confused again. Mei-chan, you're the most beautiful girl I've ever seen, you're really nice, and funny too, also, I may not be experienced, but you're definitely a good kisser. Why would I do anything to make you mad? You're awesome. Mei smiled widely. Good, I'm glad you think so. She leaned forward and smiled seductively. It had been a good kiss. If you really feel that way, we have about 15 minutes before we have to see Asuma. That leaves 10 minutes all to ourselves. Shall we enjoy them? Naruto smiled and nodded. Mei immediately leaned in and they picked up where they left off. When Mei slipped her in her tongue, he nearly passed out. Asuma looked up to see Naruto running his way. He was about 5 minutes late and Asuma didn't need to wonder why. Asuma smirked. Naruto, you have a little of Mei's lipstick on your cheek. Naruto turned the cooler of a tomato and wiped it off. Oh sorry, can we just get started, and maybe not mention this to anyone? Asuma laughed. I would think you'd be proud of that, but I guess you're just a shy kid. Fine, I won't tell anyone. I see you brought the sword. Naruto drew Kubikiribocho and nodded. So what do we do first? First, try channeling chakra into it, as little as you can. I want to see how Kubikiribocho handles the Kyuubi's chakra, and it will also show me how much chakra control you have and how long you have before you can fight with your wind chakra properly, Asuma told him. Naruto started channeling chakra into Blade, trying to use as little as possible. The blade began glow blue with a slightly red tint. He was trying not to use much chakra, but the blade still shook in his hands. He stopped and Asuma began to speak. Well, at the chakra just fine, but we're going to have to improve your control quite a bit. Luckily with your shadow clones we can cut the time down quite a lot. You'll probably be able to start learning wind jutsu. Naruto was excited at that. Awesome, what do I do first? You take a leaf and try to cut it in half with your wind chakra. Make as many clones as you can and have them all do the same thing. I'll be keeping an eye on you and give you tips. When we're done we'll have you disperse the clones one by one so that you don't pass out from information overload, Asuma told him. Naruto created as many clones as he could and got started. Naruto got back to the apartment and fell down on the bed, exhausted. Mei walked in and laughed. Rough day, Naruto-kun. Naruto sighed. That was most training I've ever done in one day, even when I trained with Parevi Sage for the Chunin exams. You're a wind, right? Naruto nodded. How far have you gotten with the lead cutting exercise? About a third of the way up the leaf. You'd think anyone could teach it, but there's a lot of little trick you have to be a wind user to understand. Asuma-sensei is a really good teacher, Naruto told her. Mei's eyes got a little wide. Wow, in just one day, that's pretty impressive. Naruto smirked at the praise. Wheel the shadow clones helped. Once I dispersed them, it got a lot easier. I used as many clones as I could. I lost count when I got up to 300, and I was only halfway there. May's eyes got very wide at that. You made that many clones. I knew had large chakra reserves, but wow. Naruto laughed loudly. Yeah, between being an Uzumaki and having the Kyuubi's chakra filtered into me, my reserves are pretty big. They make training easier, but chakra control harder, but I learned to use it to my advantage. May smiled. You train very hard. Naruto's face got serious. I've got to protect everyone important to me, including you, and I can't let my dad down. He died believing I would be the one bring peace to the world, and I'm going to. May laid down next to him. I know you will, and I'm glad you think of me as important enough to protect. He smiled and they shared a brief kiss. They soon drifted off to sleep, resting to get ready for the next day. Tsunade couldn't believe what she reading, couldn't believe some this insane. The Uchiha massacre was just a cover, a story made up to cover for the Uchiha trying to overthrow the village. Even worse, things hadn't gone as planned. The civilians and children were supposed to live. Itachi hadn't intended on killing them. Someone had interfered and killed everyone. Itachi didn't. Itachi left the village, hoping he would someday be finished by his brother, the one person he could never bring himself to kill, but until that time he was a spy for Jiraiya in the Akatsuki. Itachi couldn't do much without being found out, but something was better than nothing. Tsunade sighed and placed the scroll back in the Hokage library in the vault, next to Naruto's new scrolls. She left feeling rather sick to her stomach. The life of a ninja was a hard thing to bear at times. Naruto woke and smiled at the sight of May next to him. He had grown to really enjoy that sight. He gave her gentle kiss on neck to wake her up, which of course she did. Morning Naruto-kun. Naruto continued to smile. Morning Mei-chan, how are you? Pretty good. I've been thinking about who I'm going to have as my bridesmaids. Any thought to your groomsmen? Mei asked. Naruto frowned. No, not really. I'm gonna ask Sasuke to be my best man. Doubt he'll accept. Mei nodded. Remember, you have to pick 2 from the leaf and 2 from the mist. You can pick the 2 from the mist when we get there. We won't be married for a month after. Alright. Who are gonna be your 2 from the leaf? Naruto asked. Mei laughed. I thought about Anko, but they'd never let me do that. Still, she'll be fun at the reception. I pick Sakura and Hinata. Oh, and I put Ino in charge of flowers so she doesn't complain. Good. I'm gonna go get a shower and find Sasuke before I have to start training. See you in a bit, Naruto said, getting out of bed. Alright. See you soon. Mei rolled over and fell back asleep. Sasuke was busy training when Naruto walked up. Hey Sasuke, you got minute? I guess. What do you need? Sasuke asked. Naruto smiled. His tone wasn't his usual one that said, I'm better than you. I was wondering if you'd maybe be willing to be my best man at the wedding. Sasuke thought about it. Before he would have said no outright, but now, he thought it might not be such a bad idea. He was trying to make an effort not to lose his only real friend. Sure, why not? Naruto was shocked. Alright. Great. This means a lot to me. Thank you. Sasuke smirked. Alright, just don't get all sentimental on me. I gotta go. See soon Sasuke, Naruto said, and ran off to the other trying grounds. A group of 4 ninjas, all from the hidden sound, watched from a distance. They couldn't help but think things were going to get complicated. Naruto had gotten into a bit of a routine for the past few weeks. Train with Guy in the morning, train with Asuma during the day and see Mei at night. He had just a week left in the leaf, and things were going quite well. He could now complete the leaf cutting exercise, and could infuse Kubikiribocho with some wind chakra, making it able to cut through nearly anything. Combined with his new refined taijutsu and Asama's kinjutsu, things were going quite well. He had just woken up and was getting ready to leave. Mei had woken up as well. She had a meeting with Tsunade about Naruto's transfer. So, what are you and Asuma going to be doing today? She asked the blonde. Actually, he just finished teaching 2 wind moves, great breakthrough and slicing air palms. I was actually gonna see if I could find Tsunade when you go to see her and get out some of those wind scrolls my parents left me. Naruto replied, with a hint of pride in his voice. Mei was happy to hear that. Her future husband was getting stronger at a rate no one could believe. Great, always happy to spend a little time with you, Naruto-kun. Naruto smirked. Oh, believe me, I know. You want us to wait till the wedding, but if you keep doing the things that you did last night, I won't be able to control myself. Mei laughed. I didn't hear you complaining. Naruto laughed in return. No, I guess you didn't. They walked out of the apartment and started heading towards the Hokage's office. Mei glanced back at Naruto. You're making great progress with your wind style, but unfortunately, the mist isn't much better off when it comes to wind user than leaf is, and we only have one qualified seal expert, only he would be able to help you with sealing, and a kid your age who's pretty good with wind style who might be able to help you. Naruto raised an eyebrow. Really? Who are they? Our seal expert's name is Mizura Shinsuke. He was actually one of the only non-bloodline users who was willing to help us. If he hasn't figured out a way to seal of Yuguru from his tailed beast chakra, I don't think we could have one, said Mei with an inward look. You mean like the one Orochimaru used on me? Naruto asked. Mei shook her head. No, Orochimaru is considered to be a butcher when sealing, other than his curse mark, which is only any good thanks to using dark chakra. Naruto nodded. And the wind user? Well, he's not actually a wind user, he just can use wind. He actually about your age. He has a bloodline known as Dragon Flame Release, which due to his wind chakra being mixed in with his fire chakra, makes any fire jutsu he uses incredibly powerful. He learned how to separate them to improve his control. His name is Zawabo Kursuki. Naruto nodded again, and Mei thought back to the first time she had met each of them. Flashback, Mizura. A 13-year-old Mei stood watching the resistance debate with interest. She may have only been 13, but she was at the level of Jonin, so she was allowed to sit in on the meetings. Look, I just don't think we can trust this guy, he might be a spy for Yuguru. One of them said. I don't think so. Yuguru still thinks we're just a bunch of unorganized smaller groups. He hasn't shown any sign that he knows we all work together. We've been very careful about that, another spoke up. Then how did he know that we were all one group? Someone asked. He's the best sealer in the mist. Maybe he's been using sound recording seals, one suggested. Then why wouldn't he tell Yuguru? Why does Wana help us? I bet Yawaru knows and sent him in to spy. Mei was getting stressed from the loudness of the room, and decided to speak up herself. Well, if he was a spy, and he can use recording devices, why Yuguru even bother to send in a spy? He would just arrest us all now. We need all the help we can get. I say we take the risk. One of the leaders spoke next. Exactly what I was thinking. We could really use a seal expert. If you really want to see if you can trust him, why not just ask him why he's willing to help us? Mei suggested. They all nodded. It was better than nothing. Please send Mizura in. A 15-year-old with medium-length black hair and hazel eyes walked into the room. Now, Mizura, Please tell us why you're willing to help us when no one else without a bloodline will. Missouri paused and began to speak. My father was one of the executioners for the bloodline purge before he died. I went to watch him once when I was younger. I watched a woman beg for her son's life. He was only 4 months old. I watched my father stick a scalpel in his neck. I watched his mother collapse down on the ground. She didn't cry, didn't lash out for revenge, she just laid there broken. They killed her next. She didn't fight at all. When I asked him about it, his response was, she just didn't understand it was for the good of the mist. If that was for the good of the mist, then the mist needs to change. I can't forget that look on her face, watching the life leave her eyes as she watched her son die. I just need to do something, anything to help. Missouri was an official member of the resistance within an hour. Flashback, Zawabo. A 12-year-old May was walking through the forest on the outskirts of the village when she heard a noise nearby. She looked around until she found the source. A small boy, brown-haired, fair-skinned boy, was crying into his arms. May sat down next to him and asked him, "Are you okay? Why are you crying?" He looked at her with large green eyes. "I'm a monster." Sniff. "I killed him. I didn't mean to kill him. I swear." Sniff. "What do you mean?" May asked. "I went to do a fire jutsu my teacher had showed me. It was supposed to make a little stream thing from my mouth. He said to use just a little and I did, but it went nuts and burned really big and." He buried his face in May's shoulder and cried. May could easily figure out what happened. He was trying to use flickering flame tongue and he must have had some kind of bloodline that enhanced it before the teacher could figure out what was happening. May just let him cry in her shoulder. She didn't mind, the poor boy needed it. He had ended up joining the resistance and learning about his bloodline, which he named Dragon Flame Release, and stayed close with May, who he came to view as a big sister. "We were at the tower. See you later, May-chan," said Naruto, snapping May out of her thoughts. "Oh, alright. See you, Naruto-kun," she replied, and they parted ways. Naruto walked into Tsunade's office and looked around. He found Tsunade in the Hokage's vault reading a scroll and mumbling to herself, "Hey Bachan, you care if I grab some of my scrolls from here?" Tsunade nodded. "Yeah, fine. Just leave everything like you found it." "Shouldn't you be leaving for that concile meeting with May?" Naruto asked. Tsunade looked up startled. "Damn it. I'll see you later." She hurried from the room and failed to realize she hadn't out the scroll properly on the shelf and it quickly fell. Naruto shook his head and placed it back on the shelf. He glanced at it and got a little confused. It said, Uchiha Massacre S-ranked classified. That didn't make sense. Why would there be anything classified about that? What could be secret about that? Naruto shook his head and grabbed the scrolls he needed and left. Maybe he would ask Sasuke about it later. Naruto looked at one of the scrolls he had grabbed. It was his father's and was labeled, Wind-style Cyclone Shuriken, which would make a concentrated shuriken of wind to be thrown that would make a small impact and send waves of slicing wind at the enemy. It looked like it was meant to eventually be combined with the Rasengan. He looked it over again and got to work. Naruto was walking home, having made a little bit of progress on the Cyclone Shuriken, and saw Sasuke walking by, so he flagged him down. "Hey Sasuke!" he screamed. Sasuke looked up. "What?" "I know it's kinda none of my business, but would there be a document about the Uchiha massacre that was classified? I saw one in the Hokage's vault today and I'm kinda curious." Naruto asked. Sasuke frowned. "I don't actually know. That doesn't make any sense. What secrets could there be about that? I gotta know what's in that scroll. I could sneak you into the vault if you want," Naruto suggested. Sasuke raised an eyebrow. You'd do that for me? Why? Naruto shrugged. You're my friend, of course I would. Besides, no one's better at sneaking into the Hokage's office than me. Sasuke nodded. Alright, tonight then. Meet me on the roof of the building next to it at about 9 o'clock, Naruto said, and they parted ways. Naruto got back and informed Mei on the day's events, making her laugh. Don't you have any respect for Tsunade at all? Naruto laughed in return. Nope, so how did the council meeting go? Mei scowled. That war hawk Danzo tried to discreetly put in a clause that would allow them to raise any kids we might have here. Luckily Tsunade and I stomped that out. Naruto smiled. Do you ever think about us having kids? Mei smiled back. Of course, I've always wanted kids. What about you? Naruto thought for a second. I don't know, I never really had a family, so this is all kinda new to me. Mei nodded. It's okay, you've got plenty of time to think about. I'm sure you're gonna warm up to the idea. Why don't you head out? Oh, and if you get caught, you never told me about this. Naruto roared with laughter and headed out to meet Sasuke. Naruto and Sasuke stood in the Hokage's vault with the scroll in hand. Sasuke couldn't believe how easily Naruto had gotten them there. Where did you learn how to sneak in here that easily? Naruto laughed. I practically lived here when I was younger, it's gotten pretty easy for me. Sasuke was shaking. Everything around him was blurry, nothing seemed real. He could hear Naruto's voice, but it seemed like it was a mile away. Sasuke. 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 Come on man, talk to me. Everything he knew in this world was a lie, he was just trying to get everything straight in his head. Should he still hate Itachi? Could he trust any of the Leaf villagers? Who all knew about this? What in the hell was going on? Why wouldn't they tell me? Why did Itachi have to leave? I would have given anything to have had him stay. He did all of this for me and the Leaf, so why did he have to leave? Why did he make me hate him? Sasuke asked. He want you to have a good life. You would have been like me. The villagers would hate you. They'd view you as the one of the traitors. Itachi needed you to hate him. He wanted you to get strong, kill him, and bring honor back to your clan, Naruto told him. Sasuke had tears in his eyes. I wouldn't have cared if they hated me. If I had Itachi with me, it wouldn't matter. I looked up to him. He was everything I wanted to be, and then the massacre happened. I thought I was all alone. I couldn't trust anyone after what Itachi did. Naruto put a hand on his shoulder. He did this so you could create whatever kind of life you wanted, held back by nothing. Sasuke, don't waste that. I don't know. I always said I would rebuild my clan, but the more I learn about the more impossible that goal seems, Sasuke told him. Naruto frowned. Bullshit. My whole life people have either viewed me as a monster that needed to be locked away or weapon to be used. I'm gonna bring peace to the ninja world, something that seems impossible, but damn it, I'm gonna do it. Sasuke looked at him. I just need some time to think. Don't tell anyone about this. Just let me try to straighten this out in my head. Naruto nodded. Alright, just don't anything rash, okay? Sasuke just looked at him and left Naruto to worry about his friend. Sasuke was walking home, just trying to figure out what all of this meant, when he heard a rustle in the trees and felt chakra signatures near the treetop. Whoever you are, come out now and won't kill you. 4 people dropped in front of him, a girl with red hair and a bandana, and fat man with brown skin, a 6-armed man, and white-haired man with green lips. They all looked kinda freaking. The one with white hair spoke up. So, you're Lord Orochimaru's next project. Interesting, you don't look like much. I'm Sakin. The red-haired girl is Tayuya. the six-armed one in Kitamaru, and the fat one is Jirobo. Sasuke scowled. What does that sneak freak want with me? The did you just say? Tayuya swore. Tayuya. Jirobo began. Not one word, fatass, she snapped. Sakin spoke up again. Enough you two. Now then, Lord Orochimaru is offering you the power you seek to destroy your brother. He can make it so that the curse mark is even more powerful than it is now. All he asks in return is your loyalty, nothing less, nothing more. And if I refuse? Sasuke asked. Kitamaru spoke up next. Then I tie your in web and drag you back to be used for experiments. You act like it would be easy to take me down, Sasuke shot back. Sakin sighed. Look, we've made our offer, you think on it, and then, contrary to what my six-armed friend said, you can come if you please, and we'll leave you alone if you don't want to. We don't want you if you're uncooperative, it'll cause more trouble than good, we'll be at the gate at midnight. The four of them jumped back into the trees, and Sasuke frowned. It seemed as though all of the major decisions in his life were going to be decided on in one day. Naruto got to the apartment, found Mei sleeping. He walked up to the head and gently shook her awake. Mei groggily looked up and smiled. Hey Naruto-kun, what's up? Let's just say it was very eventful. Mei-chan, can I ask you something important? Naruto asked. Mei looked up. She could tell this was important. Naruto-kun, what is it? It's just the thing with Sasuke and all these secrets, it's got me wondering. Mei-chan, did you only get close to me for the sake of the mist, or do you really care about me? Naruto looked up at her with hopeful eyes. Mei looked surprised. Naruto-kun, we both know that this got started because of a political marriage, but of course I care about you. I've gotten to know you, and you're a great guy. If I'm being forced to marry someone, I'm glad it's you. Naruto-kun, you don't need to worry. I like you a lot. I don't know if I would call it love yet, but I need you to know that I would never play you like that. Naruto smiled. Thanks, Mei-chan, that means a lot. Mei got a seductive smile on her face. Want to have a little fun before bed to ease your mind? Yes, please. Naruto said and leaned forward to capture her lips in a kiss. Naruto woke up to the sound of a bird tapping on his window. He looked over to see it was a messenger bird. He opened the window and took the message. Naruto couldn't believe what he read. I sighed. Sasuke was attempting to leave the village. He was on his way to the hidden sound as he read. Naruto was screaming at the top of his lungs. Why would he leave? I thought he had changed. It doesn't make sense. Shikamaru and Naruto had been chosen to lead the retrieval mission. They had Kiba, Neji and Choji with them. Choji spoke up next. Naruto, maybe there's more to this than we think. Look, it doesn't matter. All that matters right now is that we find him, Kiba told them. They all nodded except for Naruto. He just stood there and waited until it was time to head out. They had a slight advantage due to that fact they had to complete Sasuke's curse mark, so they had time to catch up. They could still catch him. Naruto could still find out why. They had been traveling non-stop for the past hour. Kiba told them they were gaining on the scent of the sound ninja. Neji activated his Byakugan to look around. I can see one person up ahead. Looks like one of them split from the group. Shikamaru scowled. Damn, we don't have time for this. Choji spike up. You guys keep moving. I'll handle this. You guys go one ahead. You sure? Shikamaru asked. Yeah, you guys keep going, Choji told them. They left and Choji jumped into the clearing. The battle was about to start. They continued on for about 20 minutes, when Neji told them he saw another person out on a branch. We don't have freaking time for this, Naruto yelled. Shikamaru analyzed the situation. We need Kiba to keep us in the scent, and Naruto's definitely the strongest of us. It we best to save him just in case we meet someone too strong for us, so that leaves me or Neji. You go on ahead, the team needs your intelligence more than my eyes, Neji told Shikamaru. Shikamaru nodded, alright, catch up with us when you can. They left as Neji jumped onto a branch near some six-armed man. The man started the fight by shooting webbing at him. Neji could tell this was gonna be tough. They kept gaming on Sasuke to the point that they were only 15 minutes behind. They were stopped by red-headed girl screaming at them, "Hey dumb. I don't know how you got this far and I don't care, you shitheads stop right here." Shikamaru sighed, and made hand seal, "Kiba, Naruto, get moving. I just caught in shadow possession, but you don't have much time." "What the? When do you do this? Let me go damn it," Tayuya swore. "Go already," Shikamaru told them, and they went on their way. Sakin was getting nervous. They Leaf Ninja were just a few minutes away from them, and Sasuke couldn't come out for another 10 minutes. He stopped when he looked to see an ill white-haired man up ahead. "What the hell are you doing here? I thought you were dead." "I will be soon. Give me the boy, I'll go as fast as I can. You hold the others off," he told him. Just as he left, Sakin saw the Leaf Ninja closing in. "Too late, by the time you get to him it'll be finished, and he'll belong to Lord Orochimaru." "Naruto, get moving. I can handle this freak. You need to talk to Sasuke when he wakes up," Kaba yelled. Naruto jumped into the trees and started running towards the man carrying Sasuke, while Kiba got into battle position. Naruto continued on to find the white-haired man alone next to an empty barrel. "Where is he?" "That is none of your concern. What you need to be worried about is me killing you," the man replied. Naruto got ready to fight when a green blue entered the scene. It was Lee and he seemed to be drunk. Naruto hiccup. "You get going hiccup. I want to soar with this hiccup, guy." Naruto chose not to look a gift horse in the mouth and went after Sasuke, leaving Lee to have his fun. Naruto had reached the Valley of the End to find Sasuke standing in the middle. He looked up at Naruto and motioned for him to come over. Naruto screamed as ran towards him, "Sasuke." Naruto reached Sasuke. He was panting slightly. "Naruto." Sasuke began. Naruto cut him off. "What the hell? I thought you finally understood. I thought you were finally gonna stop obsessing over your brother, but no. Why damn it? Why the hell are you leaving? And if you say it's to get strong enough to kill your brother, I'm gonna kick the every living shit out of you." "Naruto, I'm going undercover," Sasuke finished. "What?" Naruto was dumbfounded. Sasuke looked at the ground. "Naruto, I still don't know how to feel about the leaf, Itachi, anything really. The only person I feel I can really trust is you, which is why I feel I owe it to you to tell you the truth. Other than Tsunade, you're the only one who know about this. I'm sorry, but I just need to get out of the village for a while, and this seems like the best way to do it." Naruto was still confused. "What about your friends who almost died to bring you back?" "Tsunade has Jonin keeping an eye on all of them. If things get to Sirius, they'll intervene," Sasuke told him. "You really need to do this?" Naruto asked. Sasuke nodded. "Yes, I do." Naruto had tears in his eyes. "Fine, good luck. I guess I won't be seeing you at the wedding." "No, you won't. Your good friend Naruto. Thank you for everything." Sasuke had moist eyes as well. Sasuke walked away, leaving Naruto to stand there. Naruto turned around and went back towards the leaf, thinking of his friend the entire time. Naruto stood in the Hokage's office with his friends. Sakura was crying. Shikamaru felt bad about getting friends hurt. Shino wished he could have gone on the mission, Kakashi felt like he had failed his students, and Naruto pretend like he hated himself for not being fast enough. Why did he leave? Sakura sobbed. Ino held her friend. It's okay, forehead girl, he's just confused, that all. Naruto wanted so badly to tell his friend the truth, but he knew he couldn't. I'm sorry, Sakura. Sakura looked up and wiped her eyes. It's not your fault, they were too far gone by the time you found out about it. I'm just so sad. Team 7 is gone. Without you and Sasuke, it's just not Team 7 anymore. Tsunade spoke up next. Sakura and I had already discussed her becoming my apprentice, so I think I'll just make it official now. Kakashi, you just spend your free time training. The Akatsuki is still out there and we're going to need you as strong as we can get you. Kakashi nodded. He didn't really want to train another team anyway. Team 7 had meant too much to him to just move on. Sakura went up to Naruto. Naruto, we've got to stay in touch. Promise to come visit me every time you're in town. Naruto smiled. Of course. Alright everyone, but Naruto, clear the room. I've got to talk to him, said Tsunade. They did as they were told. What do you need? He asked. Tsunade looked at him. I know you're not going to tell anyone about Sasuke going undercover, are you? I know you know, so don't play dumb. I'm not going to tell anyone, Naruto whispered, almost to himself. He left the room and went back to the apartment. The last week of being in the Leaf went by quickly. He didn't open up to many people about how he was really feeling. Only Iruka knew just how sad the boy was. It bothered May slightly that he wouldn't open up to her about it, but she knew they had only been together a month. She had to give it time. They were going to leave tomorrow. May was still worried about Naruto, but she was excited about going back home. She was going to do everything in her power to make it feel like home for Naruto. Lucky number 7. Naruto finally heads to the mist, and once again thanks to Hoichi for some clan names you'll see in this about this chapter kinda being filler, but I gotta do what I gotta do. Oh, and I've been putting page breaks in this, but it doesn't seem to show it sometimes. Can someone tell me why? Naruto and May stood at the gate of the Hidden Leaf saying their final goodbyes to all of their friends. The 3 girls of the Rookie 9 were up first. Don't you worry, Mizuki-san, our flower shop is gonna make your wedding the most beautiful you've ever seen, Ino told her. Sakura smiled. I'm just so happy to be in wedding. I can't believe I'm the Mizuki's bridesmaid. Father was very pleased to hear I was in the wedding. He said it was good for the image of a claw and head. Hinata stuttered. Sakura ran up to Naruto and gave him a hug. I'm not gonna see you for a month until we have the wedding, and only once a month after that when you come from your ambassador duties. You'd better not forget about me. Naruto smirked. Well, you have hit me a lot. I think my memory might be impaired. Sakura shot him a look. Of course I'll remember you, Sakura-chan. Shikamaru sighed. Goodbyes are too troublesome. Kiba laughed. And that is why I was made the new best man instead of you. Shikamaru shrugged. I just wish I could go with Choji and help his family handle the cooking. That sounds much easier than being a groomsman, but my mother wouldn't let me back out. This also troublesome. Everyone else finished for him. They all broke out in laughter. Iruka gave Naruto a hug and they nodded to each other. They both knew nothing needed to be said there. Jiraiya shook Naruto's hand and told him to keep it up with the toad training, and whispered to him that his parents would be proud. Kakashi offered Naruto one of his books so he could prepare for the wedding night, causing May to send him a threatening glance. Tsunade gave him a bone-crushing hug and told him that if he became a pervert like his teacher, she'd smack him, causing Naruto to nod quickly. Guy and his little twin Lee told Naruto not to let his flames of youth burn out, and Neji simply told him to keep defying fate. Anko told him to enjoy his wedding night, and maybe if she got drunk enough she'd join him and his wife, making Naruto blush and Mei roar with laughter. Kakashi pouted and asked why she got to make jokes, which Mei simply responded to by saying she actually thought Anko was funny. The Jonin shook his head, went back to reading his book. Naruto had tears in his as he looked out at all his friends. Thanks guys, for everything. My life wasn't always great, but you guys really made it feel like home. I promise to see you all as soon as I can. I'll never forget you guys, you're all awesome. Mei smiled gently at her soon-to-be husband. Ao just arrived, it's time to head out. She looked out at all of Naruto's friends. Thank all of you for everything you've done for Naruto. I'll make sure you're all an active part of Naruto's life, I promise. Naruto nodded and they began to head out. He took one last look at his old home, he was really going to miss it. They were traveling to the mist when a sudden outburst from Naruto stopped them. Ah, damn it. They looked at him confused. What? Naruto frowned. I forgot to talk to Pervy Sage about adding you onto the Toad summoning contract. Mei looked stunned. Why would you do that? Pervy Sage told me it's common for married couples to add one another to their summoning contracts. It only makes sense to put you on it. You're great with the Toad's three main elements, water, earth, and fire for their oil. It just makes sense. I'm gonna give to our kids anyway. Naruto told her. Mei nodded. It did make sense. She thought about what he had said and smirked. So, you do want us to have kids? Naruto blushed. Well, I thought about it and yeah, I do. I've always wanted to have a family, so why wouldn't that involve kids? I mean, I don't want any right now, but eventually kids sound kinda cool. Mei walked over and kissed him on the cheek. I'm glad you feel that way. Naruto blushed again. I'm gonna summon Gamakichi, just give me a sec. Naruto made a few hand seals and pressed his hand to the ground. A plume of smoke shot up and a small toad appeared. Yo. Oh hey Naruto, why'd you summon me? Gamakichi asked. I was wondering if it would be possible to add my soon-to-be wife, Mei, to the summoning contract. We're heading to the mist right now, so please make it quick. Naruto told him. Gamakichi nodded. Oh yeah, there's a whole thing for that. It's actually pretty easy. I'll tell you all about on the way. They continued to travel and Gamakichi told Naruto how it worked. It was pretty simple really. Once they were married, Naruto would summon the boss Toad. There would be a small ceremony promising loyalty to Naruto and the Toads, and Mei would sign her name if Gamabunta felt she was worthy. Since she was a cage, Naruto was pretty sure Gamabunta would feel she was worthy. They had finally reached the gates of the hidden mist. Naruto could see several faces very happy to see Mei return to the village. Naruto could see two women, one with brown long hair who must have been about 18, and thin woman who looked like a much prettier Kisame, with light blue skin, dark blue lips and hair which was a little short who looked about 15. The one with blue hair was first to speak. So you're Mei's new boy toy? Naruto raised an eyebrow. Just kidding cutie, I'm Hiri Hoshigaki, it's nice to meet you. Hoshigaki, are you related to that guy who tried to kill me? Naruto asked. Hiri gave a nervous laugh. Yeah, sorry about Kisame, he wasn't always like that. After he was forced to kill 4 of the 7 swordsmen he kinda lost faith in the mist. I'll never forgive those bastards from the Akatsuki who took advantage of him when he was vulnerable like that, she finished angrily. The other girl nodded. My father was one of the swordsmen Yaguru forced Kisame to kill, he was Fuguki Shikazan. I hated Hiri at first, but once we got to know each other we agreed it was Yagaru's fault, although I guess now we know it's the Akatsuki's fault. They really seem to have an interest in the Seven Swordsmen. I'm Ratuji, by the way. Wow, you guys knew some of the Seven Swordsmen, that's amazing. I actually wield Zabuza's old sword, Naruto said, showing them the blade. They both satires at it in awe. It was really quite amazing, just the craftsmanship alone was sight to behold. May decide to introduce the two further. Huri here has a very powerful affinity for water, and Ratuji use hair-based jutsu like her father, although it's not a bloodline. They're my other two bridesmaids and two very close friends of mine. You should really get to know them better if you can. Naruto smiled. We have to go see the council, right? Let's just have them go with us and we can talk on the way, Naruto said, offering the two his arms. Both Hiri and Ratuji smiled and accepted. Wow, May, cute and polite, you bagged a good one. May laughed and shook her head. Admittedly, she was slightly bothered she didn't get an arm to be guided with. They reached the Mizukage's building after a nice wall in which Naruto learned a lot his new friends. He learned about May meeting them after breaking up an argument between the two when they were younger, about how over the next 3 years the two would slowly become good friends, and they even managed to sneak in a threat towards Naruto about if he ever hurt May. It was an interesting walk for sure. They entered the council's chambers and took their seats. Naruto was right next to May at the center of the council table with the rest of them surrounding her. May stood up, announced the meeting had officially began, and they all went right to the topic on everyone's mind, Naruto Uzumaki. I must say, first and foremost, that having this boy here presents a major risk, one councilman began. May stopped him there. All right, let me stop this before it starts. Naruto may be a risk, but he'd be a risk we had to protect even if I didn't marry him. If we're allied with the Leaf, then we're going to have to defend either way. Well, maybe we should have chosen different allies, another councilman suggested. All the other villages have Jinjurikus as well, at least we were smart enough to choose the strongest village. May responded. Another councilman was about to speak, but was cut off by May. It's not up for discussion, this is final. Does anyone have anything real to discuss? They all grew quiet. No one really had anything to say. One councilman finally said, perhaps we should just discuss the wedding. They spent the rest of the time discussing how the wedding would go and who all would be invited. It was rather boring, but better than the political discussions. The meeting ended late and they were both exhausted. Neither of them could wait to get home and get some rest. Naruto had never seen the Mizukage's estates either, and he was very eager to see his new home. They continued walking until May stopped them at a large 3-story house. Well, here we are. Naruto couldn't believe his eyes. Wow, we live here. May nodded. Yup, come on, I'll show you around. They took tour of the large mansion, 15 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms, a massive dining hall, even a hot spring for bathing. It was really amazing. They reached the master bedroom and May went to get changed, leaving Naruto to look around. It had a very large bed, with a beautiful bed frame. Just about everything in the room was beautiful. It was really a sight to see. May walked back out in her usual sleeping attire and Naruto got changed as well. It had been a long day, and Naruto was going to have to find Mizura and Zawabo tomorrow to help with his sealing and wind chakra. Naruto sighed. He never really took a break anymore. He would have to change that when he got married. May could sense what he was thinking and cuddle up to him. Look at it this way. At least you aren't like me and have to do paperwork all day long. At least training is fun. Naruto awoke to his first day in the mist to a messenger knocking on the door. May had awoken before him, so she answered it. It was a messenger nin, informing them that the council want to see just how powerful Naruto was. Mei sighed. She had been expecting this. Sorry Naruto-kun, I know you were hoping to go and find Zawabo and Mizura right away, but they won't stop until you show them what you can do. Come to think of it, I don't think I fully know what you can do. Naruto gave his classic foxy grin. Well then, come by and watch with the council. After all, you need to know how freaking awesome your husband is. Mei laughed. Alright then, you get dressed and let's get going. Those old pricks don't like to be kept waiting. Naruto reached the council room, Kubikiribocho strapped on his back and his soon-to-be wife by his side. Alright, I heard you guys wanted to see just what I can do, so let's get out to the training grounds so I don't blow the roof of this place. One of the councilmen sneered, you seem pretty short-stack. Naruto shot him a grin. Wait do you hold off on calling me until you see what I can do. They all nodded and went down to the training grounds. I've got people to go see so let's make this quick, Naruto said and made about a dozen shadow clones. They all started to mutter about large chakra reserves, and Naruto just kept smirking, you guys haven't seen anything yet. The clones began to go through hand signs, one used great breakthrough, another slicing eye palms, cyclone shuriken was done by one of them, and two of them helped Naruto perform a Rasengan, while another used a wind-enhanced Kubikiribocho to slice through several logs. The council was stunned at the pure display of power. This kid was definitely Chunin material, hell he might have been Jonin material. Impressive, we understand you can summon the legendary boss Toad, may we see it? Naruto shook his head, hell no, if I called him for something like this, he'd kill me. The council nodded, fine, we're satisfied with your display and rank, you are dismissed. Mei walked over with a large smile on her face, very impressive, you'll be a Jonin in no time if you keep this up. Naruto shot her another foxy grin, well I need to be strong if I'm marrying the Mizukage. Mei leaned over and gave him a small peck on the lips, I suppose you do, Mizura is on a mission, but he should be back later today, go and find Zawabo for now, he's at a training ground just east of here. Naruto nodded, alright see you later. Naruto went east until he found a burned training ground, he felt safe to assume Zawabo was here. He found him practicing a fire jutsu on one of the trees, he looked about 14, he stopped when he saw Naruto coming, hey there, can I help you with something? He asked cheerfully. Naruto smiled at him, I'm Naruto, and I was wondering if I could get some help with my wind jutsu. I know you're not much better than me with it, but it's still nice to have someone to bounce ideas off of. Zawabo looked up in realization, oh, you're Mei's soon-to-be husband, it's nice to finally meet you, I'm Zawabo, but I guess you already knew that. I'd be happy to help you in any way I can, Mei's a close friend of mine. Naruto nodded, yeah Mei mentioned that, which reminds me, will you be in the wedding as one of the groomsmen? She made some of my friend's bridesmaids, it only makes sense to make some of hers groomsmen. Zawabo smiled brightly, of course, it'd be my pleasure. Who all else is gonna be in the wedding? Naruto thought for a second, you wouldn't know any of my friends, the only ones you would know is Ratuji and Hairi. Zawabo went wide-eyed, Hairi's gonna be in the wedding. Sweet. Maybe I'll get to walk down with her. Naruto raised an eyebrow, do you have crush on her? Zawabo blushed, so what if I do, you aren't one of those assholes who make fun of her for her skin are you? Naruto raised his hands in defense, no, I just thought maybe you could ask her to be your date for the wedding. Zawabo looked at the ground, nah, I don't think she likes me like that. Have you ever asked her out? Naruto asked. Well, no. Zawabo responded. Then how do you know? Maybe she likes you back. Naruto suggested. Zawabo thought about it for a second. I don't know, maybe. Why don't we just move on to jutsu? Naruto pulled out one of his scrolls and they got to work. Naruto and Zawabo had made a decent amount of progress on his jutsus. Zawabo really knew about the theoretical part of wind style. Naruto had just gotten word that Mizura had returned, and he went to go and find him. Naruto saw him leaving the Mizukage's building and went up to talk to him. Hey Mizura. Mizura looked up. Yes, may I help you? Naruto went to shake his hand. Hi, I'm Naruto. I'm guessing May told you about me. I was wondering if you could help me in learning about sealing. Mizura smiled. Naruto, yes, May did tell me about you. I would be happy to teach you about sealing. It'll be nice to have another sealer in the mist other than myself. Naruto was a little off-put by how stoic and calm yet pleasant the man seemed, kinda like a happy Neji, which didn't seem wrong, but decided not to worry about and just go with the flow. Great, I was reading something about gravity seals, and I was thinking that those would be perfect. I saw a friend of mine use something like them and the results were fantastic. Mizura nodded. Yes, they are quite useful for building one's speed, strength and stamina, and once they are removed your body becomes even faster. But please do not tell anyone that I can do this for you, and I would advise not to advertise your sealing skills either. Once people learn you know how to seal they'll never leave you alone in asking for favor involving it. Naruto understood what he meant, and they started to go into the art of sealing. Naruto decided to ask Mizura quickly, oh and before I forget, I know it would mean a lot to May if you were in the wedding. She invited 2 of my friends to be bridesmaids so I thought I would invite you to be a groomsman. Mizura nodded with a smile. Of course, it would be my honor. Naruto got home and fell back onto the giant mattress in the master bedroom. It had really been a long day, much longer than he would have liked. He had a feeling the next few weeks were going to be like this. May looked at Naruto and shook her head. Looks like both of us had a busy day. Did you track down Mizura and Zawabo? Yeah. We gotta start on what we would be working on. We should have the gravity seal ready by the day after tomorrow, and I've got a good start on a couple new wind jutsus, he told her. Oh, and I asked Mizura and Zawabo to be my other 2 groomsmen. I hope that's okay. May smiled brightly. No, that's great. You really did that. Thank you. This is really important to me. Naruto just nodded. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry if I seem out of it. I'm just really tired. Alright. I'm pretty tired myself. I'm gonna go get changed. See you in just a sec, May responded. It didn't take long for Naruto to fall asleep. It really had been a long day. The next 3 weeks passed incredibly quickly. The gravity seals were helping out with Naruto's physical strength. He learned 2 new wind jutsu, drill wind fist and great air repulsion. The progress he was making was extremely impressive. He had made a lot of new friends in the mist. Once the village got to know Naruto, they really came to like him. May continued with classic political bullcrap, although after Naruto's display, they stopped really being concerned with him. The 2 of them had grown very close over the past few weeks. They still hadn't said I love you, but considering they had only been together 2 months, they were doing quite well. The wedding was just a week away, and everyone in the mist was very excited. Things like this didn't happen often, and was gonna be one hell of a party. Naruto woke up and walked to look out the window, was now only 2 days away from the wedding, something he still couldn't believe. He saw May had woke up too, and walk up to her. How are you feeling? May smiled. Good, you. Naruto rubbed the back of his head. a little nervous but excited. Mei leaned up and kissed him. I know, so am I. Naruto looked at her and smirked. My friend will be arriving today. I can't wait to see them again. Naruto told her and walked out the door to go meet them. It was kinda nice to know people had come just to see him. All of Naruto's friends arrived at the gate, smiles on their faces. This was gonna be a fun weekend, they could tell. Naruto ran up to meet them. Hey guys, what up? They all smiled, and as he ran up, it was really good to see him again. Naruto, how've you been? I hope the mist has been treating you well, Tsunade told him. Of course Bachan, I am marrying Mizukage for Pete's sake. Come on, I know good restaurant where we can catch up. Naruto responded. Naruto looked around the room. Kiba, Shikamaru, Zawabo, and Mizura all wore elegant black kimono like the one his was wearing. He was silently in the groom's room, waiting for his big with his soon-to-be wife. In just an hour he would be married. Mei would be his wife. That still blew Naruto's mind. Kiba walked up and put a hand on Naruto's shoulder. You ready, man? Naruto smiled and nodded. Yeah, I think I am. It's kinda strange, but I really like Mei. I think we're actually gonna be really happy together. Pretty lucky for an arranged marriage. Troublesome as you can be, you tend to get pretty lucky. I guess this is no exception, Shikamaru told him. Naruto laughed. He did seem to always find to make best out of any situation. Zawabo came up and slapped him on the back. Well, I'm glad you're here. Thanks to you I actually got a date with Hairi. Naruto shook his head. All I did was tell you to ask her out, it wasn't that hard. He has a point, Zawabo. The signs were right there, Mizura told him. Zawabo pouted while the rest of them laughed. They wondered if the bridesmaid's room was like this. Sakura, Hinata, Hairi, and Rituji sat patiently waiting for Mei to come out in her dress. The anticipation was killing them, but they knew something like this took time. Mei finally walked out and everyone's jaw dropped. She looked amazing. She wore an elegant white dress that hugged her body, showed just enough cleavage so that it was attractive without being trashy. A simple white veil covered her face, and no straps so that it showed her shoulders. So how do I look? She asked. You look great. You're gonna knock Naruto out, Sakura told her. Wow, Mei, you look fantastic, said Hairi and Rituji. Yes, you look very nice. Naruto will be very happy, Hinata said, proud that she had kept control of her stutter, something she intended to do until the wedding was over. She had been working on confidence since Naruto left. She was happy to say she was making great progress. Mei sighed with a small smile. This is really it, isn't it? I'm getting married today. She still couldn't believe she was getting married today. She kept saying it over and over in her mind. It was just amazing to her. Mei knew when she became Mizukage she would likely have to be politically married, but she honestly never expected to actually like her husband. She thought she was going to get some uptight jackass who felt it was nothing more than a job to marry her. She never thought he would actually put forth some effort in this relationship. Naruto had really surprised her. She honestly wasn't sure if she could have gotten anyone better. She was really starting to feel this whole thing could work out. The time had finally arrived. Naruto stood at the altar, waiting for his soon-to-be wife to walk down the aisle. He took a deep breath. It was kinda overwhelming, all of this happening at once, but he knew he could do this. For Mei and his friends, he would do anything. The music played and the doors opened to sight that took Naruto's breath away. Mei stood there, looking absolutely amazing. Ow, the man she had come to view as a father, walked her down and she gave him small kiss on the cheek. Ao smiled and gave her hug, and she walked up to meet Naruto. Tsunade, who was performing the ceremony, began to speak. We're here today to join these two nations and two hearts in marriage. Both of these individuals, who I'm proud to call my friend, exemplify the very thing their villages stand for. Naruto represents the undying and unsurrendering spirit of the leaf, and Mei represents the diversity and ability to survive the mist has become known for. If you would both please read your vows. Naruto pulled his out of his pocket and took another deep breath. Mei, when this all first started I was terrified. I always put on a mask when I'm scared, and when I first met it was no exception. Yet, in no time at all, you showed me I could trust you with who I really was. We have a very similar past, we both know about being held back, but refusing to give up on our dreams. You made me feel like I really had someone I could talk to, someone who really knew what I'd gone through. I really feel like there's someone just like me out there. I can honestly say with all my heart, I love you, Mei Terumi. Mei had small tear in her eye. It was the first time either of them had said it. She wiped the tear from her eye and began to speak. Naruto, when I found out I would be married to some person I didn't know, I became sure that I would someone I could never love. Life had never seemed to be kind to me. But then I met you, and you were amazing. You're kind, sweet, strong, everything I'd ever wanted in a man. You were always honest with me, you really came to trust me and it made me feel like I could trust you. We were so similar, so much alike, I really felt like you understood me. I'm glad I was forced into marriage, because if I wasn't I never would have met you. I love you too, Naruto Uzumaki. Tsunade smiled and finished the ceremony. I now pronounce you man and wife, you may kiss the bride. They kissed and everyone cheered. I now present for the very first time, Mr. and Mrs. Naruto Uzumaki. The reception was fantastic, amazing food, dancing, everything you could ever imagine. Ino had went a little insane with the flowers, blue and orange roses were everywhere, but it still looked very nice. Kiba danced with Hinata, Zawabo with Hairi, Enko even got Kakashi to dance. Naruto and Mei danced the night away. They were both so happy they had really found someone special, someone to spend the rest of their life with. Mei stepped outside for a moment to get a breath of fresh air. The night had been great so far, but very overwhelming. Well, little Mei, how have you been? A figure in the shadows asked. Mei didn't even jump. Fine, Kisame, it is my wedding night after all. The blue-skinned swordsman stepped out. You do know what he contains, don't you? Mei scowled. Yes, and I don't care. He's a great person and the damn fox doesn't change anything. Kisame turned serious. For your sake and my sister's you should stay away from him. We will come after him eventually, and when we do nothing will stop us. Mei sent him a wave of killer intent. You have to get through me first. Kisame chuckled. You always were a wild one, don't say I didn't warn you. Kisame jumped away leaving Mei to stand there. She went back inside to spend more time with her new husband. Naruto held Mei close to him as they danced. He felt like whole world had just melted away for a short while. So really meant everything you said up there, you really love me. Mei put her hand onto his chest. Of course, I couldn't imagine anything better. Naruto smiled. I'm glad, I really want you to be happy. Mei got a seductive smirk on her face. Just wait till tonight. Once we get back to the mansion, I'm going to make you very happy. This is gonna be the best weekend of your life. Naruto blushed. Should we head out then? Mei nodded. Oh yes, I think that we should. She grabbed his hand and rushed at the door. They kisses passionately all the way through the hallway to the master bedroom, Once they got there, Mei pushed him on the bed and went into the bathroom. I'm gonna put something a little more comfortable on, be right back. Naruto nodded dumbly and waited. Mei walked out wearing a lace black and blue bra with matching panties. You ready for the real deal? Naruto nodded vigorously and she pounced on him. The room would be filled sounds of passion and moans of pleasure throughout the night. Naruto may have been younger, but he could more than keep up with Mei, and with Mei knowing fun things they could try, it was an incredible night for both of them. So, how'd I do? Naruto panted. Mei was panting as well. Fantastic, your stamina is amazing. 3 straight times, that's just impressive. Naruto smiled. Soon the two both drift off to sleep. It had been the most stressful and incredible day they had ever had. Naruto stood with his new wife seeing his friends off at the gate. Bye guys, I'll see you in about a month. They all smiled and nodded. Jiraiya walked up to Mei, but she cut him off before he could speak. You'd better not ask what I think you're about to ask. Jiraiya looked surprised. What are you talking about? I was just gonna ask if Naruto was gonna have signed the Toad contract. Mei looked relieved. Oh good. Yes he was. Jiraiya smiled. Good, what did you think I was gonna ask? Mei simply waved the question off. Nothing. Kakashi told Naruto to keep up with his training. Sakura told him to come and see her as soon as possible. Kiba asked how his first night with Mei was, earning him a slap on the back of the head, although when Anko asked the same question everyone laughed. They all left and Naruto stood holding Mei's hand. He had a good feeling about the next few years.